Pay attention to the young woman in the silver dress laughing in this Instagram story video from a crowded rooftop bar. She is 23-year-old Madison Harper, celebrating her birthday surrounded by friends, champagne in hand, her smile radiant under string lights. The timestamp reads 9:47 p.m., March 2nd, 2024. A figure appears at the edge of the frame. Uninvited, her roommate, Jessica Chen, holding a bottle of wine, her expression cold despite the forced smile. Madison turns, surprised but welcoming. They embrace briefly. Jessica's eyes never leave Madison's face. She did not know it yet, but this was the last time she would be seen alive. March 4th, 2024, Austin, Texas. Madison Harper had been missing for 36 hours. She had not shown up for her Monday meeting at Amplify Marketing, where she had just been promoted to creative director. Her phone had been off since 1:43 a.m. on March 3rd. Her boyfriend Tyler contacted police at 2:15 p.m. He hadn't heard from her since she texted, "Heading home, love you," at 11:52 p.m. Her car was still at her apartment. Most telling, her golden retriever Biscuit was alone with an empty water bowl, something Madison would never allow. Her best friend Amanda told police Madison had signed a lease for her own apartment, moving out in 2 weeks. She was finally getting away from Jessica. The roommate situation had become toxic. Jessica couldn't handle Madison's success. By 6 p.m., the case was escalated to Detective Sarah Brennan. Madison Harper was 23, a University of Texas graduate earning $92,000 as creative director at a tech startup. She lived with Jessica Chen, a former college friend. Madison was moving out March 17th to escape growing tension. Madison video called her parents every Sunday. She'd been dating Tyler Morrison for 14 months. Her Instagram had 48,000 followers. The birthday party at the Townsend cost $200, a celebration of her promotion. Jessica wasn't invited. Friends said Madison had grown uncomfortable with Jessica over 6 months. Jessica was fired from her marketing job in October 2023 and struggled to find work while Madison thrived. Jessica stopped paying rent, forcing Madison to cover expenses. Friends recalled Jessica's bitter comments. "Must be nice to have everything handed to you. She thinks she's better than everyone now." 2 weeks before the party, Madison called Tyler crying. She'd found Jessica standing in her bedroom doorway at 3 a.m., just watching her sleep. "She's scaring me," Madison told Tyler. "The way she looks at me, it's like she hates me." Jessica Chen was 24, unemployed, drowning in resentment. By February 2024, she was 3 months behind on rent. The birthday party was Jessica's breaking point. She discovered it through Instagram stories. The rooftop venue, the champagne, Madison in a $400 dress. At 9:30 p.m., Jessica crashed the party uninvited. Witnesses testified she drank heavily and made hostile comments. Must be nice to afford. All this, some of us are actually struggling. When Madison asked her to leave, Jessica snapped. "This is what you've become? Too good for your own roommate?" Guests recalled Jessica watching Madison like a predator studying prey, filming her repeatedly. One partygoer testified, "Jessica stood in the corner for 20 minutes just staring at Madison with this look of absolute hatred. It was deeply unsettling." Jessica left at 10:45 p.m. Security footage shows her arriving home at 11:14 p.m. She went inside and waited in the dark. Madison's final Instagram story at 11:23 p.m. showed her in an Uber. Best night ever heading home. Jessica viewed it at 11:26 p.m. but didn't like or comment. Madison texted Tyler at 11:52 p.m. Her phone died at 1:43 a.m. It never turned back on. Security footage showed Madison arriving home at 12:07 a.m. in her silver dress, smiling. The elevator camera showed her touching up lipstick. She entered apartment 4C at 12:10 a.m. Madison Harper would never leave that apartment alive. Neighbor Patricia Gonzalez heard arguing at 12:20 a.m. "I heard, 'Why are you acting like this?' Then another voice, angrier. Then glass breaking. Then silence. The silence was worse than the screaming. On March 6th, Detective Brennan searched the apartment with a warrant. Jessica claimed she'd been asleep and hadn't seen Madison since Saturday. The kitchen showed recent cleaning, bleach smell, wet mopped floor. A receipt in the trash, HEB 2:47 a.m. March 3rd. Cleaning supplies purchased by Jessica. A mirror was cracked, glass fragments embedded in carpet. A wine stain had been scrubbed but was still faintly visible under UV light. In Jessica's nightstand, officers found Madison's iPhone. Screen cracked, SIM card removed, powered off. Hidden in Jessica's closet, they found Madison's silver clutch from the party. Inside, her ID, credit cards, and the lease agreement for her new apartment. On the back, in Jessica's handwriting, she thinks she's leaving. Jessica's car trunk glowed under UV light. Blood, recently cleaned. Hair samples matching Madison. A silver high-heeled shoe, the pair from elevator footage. Fabric fibers from Madison's dress embedded in the carpet. Jessica's phone GPS revealed everything. 12:14 a.m., active in apartment. 1:43 a.m., Madison's phone died. 2:31 a.m., Jessica left apartment. 2:47 a.m., at H-E-B buying cleaning supplies and trash bags. 3:41 a.m., at McKinney Falls State Park for 45 minutes. 4:52 a.m., back home. Detective Brennan brought Jessica in for questioning. Jessica waved her attorney, claiming she wanted to help. "Walk me through Saturday night," Brennan began. "I came home drunk around 11:30 and went to bed. I didn't hear Madison come home." Brennan slid security footage across the table. Madison entering at 12:10 a.m. "Your neighbor heard arguing at 12:20 a.m. She heard glass breaking." Jessica's jaw tightened. "I don't remember that." "Your phone was active at 12:14 a.m. You were awake. Madison's phone was in your nightstand with the SIM removed. We found blood in your trunk, her shoe. Your GPS shows you at H-E-B at 2:47 a.m. buying cleaning supplies, then at McKinney Falls State Park at 4:00 a.m. What were you doing there?" Jessica's eyes filled with tears. "I think I need a lawyer." The interview ended. Without a body, Brennan couldn't arrest her yet. On March 7th at dawn, search teams mobilized at McKinney Falls State Park. At 9:23 a.m., cadaver dog ranger alerted on disturbed earth beneath cedar trees. Leaves and branches covered fresh soil. At 9:45 a.m., technicians found black plastic 6 inches down, heavy-duty trash bags, the brand Jessica purchased. As they cut through, a silver sequin caught the light. Then fabric. Then a human arm. At 10:17 a.m., Madison Harper's body was found. She was still wearing her birthday dress, wrapped in 3 layers of trash bags. Her hummingbird tattoo visible on her wrist. Her silver bracelet, a birthday gift from Tyler, still clasped around her other wrist. The grave was 18 inches deep. 20 feet away, a shovel with Jessica's fingerprints. At 4 p.m., Detective Brennan called Madison's parents. Karen Harper's scream echoed through the office. David Harper asked, "Who did this?" When told it was Jessica, he said, "Madison told us she was moving out to get away from her. She said Jessica scared her. We told her to just deal with it for 2 more weeks." At 6:15 p.m., Jessica was arrested for first-degree murder. The autopsy revealed asphyxiation by ligature strangulation. The hyoid bone fractured. Madison was strangled for 3 to 5 minutes before losing consciousness, fully aware she was dying. She fought desperately, 4 fingernails torn and broken. DNA under her nails matched Jessica with 99.7% certainty. She had clawed at her killer, trying to survive. The murder weapon, an iPhone charging cable from Jessica's bedroom, Madison's blood on it. In the trash, the cut cable, middle section missing. On March 9th, with overwhelming evidence, Jessica confessed. She came home so happy. "I was in the dark. She was texting Tyler, smiling. I said something about the party. She looked at me like I was dirt. Said, 'Jessica, I can't do this tonight. We'll talk tomorrow about you moving out early.' I asked about the rent I owed. She said I could figure out how to pay her back when I had a job. Like I was pathetic. We argued. She said living with me was toxic. I told her she thought she was better than everyone. She said, 'I'm not better than everyone. I'm just better than you.' She said it right to my face. I grabbed her. She tried to push away. She backed into the mirror. It cracked. She was screaming. I couldn't let her leave. I couldn't let her walk away and keep living her perfect life while I had nothing. I saw my phone charger on the couch and I grabbed it and wrapped it around her neck. She fought me. She was clawing at my arms, at my hands. I have scratches all over, but I couldn't. I held on until she stopped moving. When she fell, I knew she was dead. I panicked for an hour. Then I wrapped her in bags, put her in my trunk, bought supplies at H-E-B, drove to the park, buried her, came home and cleaned. Did Madison say anything before she died? Jessica's face crumpled. She said, please. She kept saying, please stop, Jessica, please. But I didn't stop. Why did you kill her? Because she had everything I wanted, and I had nothing, and I couldn't stand it anymore. The state of Texas versus Jessica Marie Chen began on September 11, 2024. The jury watched Instagram videos of Madison laughing at her party, timestamp 11:23 p.m., less than 2 hours before death. Then security footage of her entering her building at 12:07 a.m., smiling, touching up lipstick, walking to her apartment. Several jurors were crying. Officer Marcus Rodriguez testified about the apartment search. He described finding Madison's phone with the SIM card removed in Jessica's nightstand. He displayed photos of the cracked mirror, the cleaned wine stain, the fragments of glass embedded in carpet. He presented the cut iPhone charging cable found in the trash with traces of Madison's blood. Forensic technician Sarah Patel explained the evidence from Jessica's car. Luminol revealing blood in the trunk, hair samples matching Madison, the silver high-heeled shoe. Tech analyst James Torres presented the phone GPS data, showing Jessica's exact movements with timestamps. Neighbor Patricia testified about hearing the argument and glass breaking. "I heard her die and I did nothing. If I had just called 911, maybe Madison would still be alive." Amanda testified that Madison helped Jessica, covered her rent for months, never complained. "Madison was the kindest person I knew. The week before her birthday, Madison told me she felt guilty for excluding Jessica from the party, but she knew Jessica would ruin it. And Jessica did ruin it. She ruined everything." Tyler Morrison testified, barely holding himself together. "I was going to propose in May. I'd already bought the ring, a sapphire ring, her favorite stone. I wrote her a letter, 6 pages, telling her every reason I loved her, every moment I knew she was the one. That letter is in a drawer and will stay there forever because I'll never get to read it to her. We talked about having 3 kids. She wanted to name our daughter Elena. I'll never have that life now. Jessica took all of that." Karen Harper showed the jury photos of Madison throughout her life. "Madison called us every Sunday at 9 a.m. We talked for an hour. The last time we spoke was Sunday, February 25th. She told me about the birthday party she was planning. She was so excited. She said, 'Mom, things are finally coming together.' 1 week later, Jessica strangled her to death." David Harper addressed Jessica directly. "Madison called us crying. She told us Jessica had been standing in her bedroom doorway at 3 a.m., just watching her sleep. Madison was scared. We told her she was overreacting. We told her to just deal with it for 2 more weeks. Our daughter died because we didn't take the threat seriously. But you strangled my daughter for 5 minutes. She begged you to stop. She said, 'Please,' and you didn't stop. I hope you hear her voice saying 'please' for the rest of your life." Dr. Patricia Okonkwo explained the autopsy findings. Using diagrams and photographs that made several jurors turn away, she detailed the ligature marks, the fractured hyoid bone, the petechial hemorrhaging. Madison Harper was conscious during most of the strangulation. She knew she was dying. She fought desperately to survive. The defensive wounds and broken fingernails show she clawed at her attacker with everything she had. This took 3 to 5 minutes. That is an eternity when you're being strangled. She would have experienced extreme pain, panic, and the terror of knowing she was dying. The jury then watched Jessica's confession video. The courtroom was silent as Jessica's voice played through speakers. "She had everything I wanted and I had nothing, and I couldn't stand it anymore." When the video reached the moment where Jessica admitted Madison begged, "Please stop, Jessica, please," 2 jurors were openly crying. Jessica stared at the defense table, expressionless. The prosecution's closing statement was brief and brutal. Jessica Chen murdered Madison Harper because she was jealous. Jealous of her career, jealous of her relationship, jealous of her happiness. She strangled me for 5 minutes while Madison begged for her life. Then she wrapped her in trash bags, drove her to a park, buried her in a shallow grave, and went home to clean up the evidence. She took Madison's phone and removed the SIM card. She bought cleaning supplies at 3 a.m. This was not a crime of passion. This was murder, deliberate, cruel, and unforgivable. Madison Harper deserved to live. She deserved to celebrate her 24th birthday. She deserved to marry Tyler. She deserved a future. Jessica Chen stole all of that because she couldn't tolerate Madison's success. Find her guilty. The jury deliberated for 11 hours and 17 minutes. They requested to review the confession video twice, the GPS evidence once, and the autopsy photographs once. On September 28, 2024, at 3:42 p.m., they informed Judge Morrison they had reached a verdict. The courtroom was packed. David and Karen Harper sat in the front row, holding hands so tightly their knuckles were white. Tyler Morrison sat beside them, a Amanda on his other side. Jessica Chen stood at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit, her face blank, her hands cuffed in front of her. Judge Morrison addressed the jury. "Has the jury reached a verdict?" The jury foreman stood. "We have, Your Honor. On the charge of murder in the first degree, how do you find?" "We find the defendant, Jessica Marie Chen, guilty." Karen Harper let out a sob. David squeezed her hand. Tyler closed his eyes. "On the charge of tampering with physical evidence, how do you find?" "Guilty." "On the charge of abuse of a corpse, how do you find?" "Guilty." Jessica Chen showed no reaction. She stood motionless, staring straight ahead. Judge Morrison thanked the jury and scheduled sentencing for 3 weeks later. On October 19, 2024, the sentencing hearing began. Amanda spoke first. "Madison was my best friend. We'd known each other since freshman year. She would have been my maid of honor at my wedding. My children would have called her Aunt Madison. You didn't just kill her. You killed the future she was supposed to be part of. And you did it because you were jealous." Tyler spoke next. "I was going to propose to Madison in May at Zilker Park. I had the whole thing planned. I bought a ring. I wrote her a letter. That letter is in a drawer, and it will stay there forever. You took the woman I was going to spend my life with. You took my future, and you did it over 5 minutes of rage because you couldn't handle her success." Then Karen Harper approached the podium. She carried a photograph, Madison at age 5 in a ballet recital costume, grinning. "This is who you killed, Jessica. This little girl grew up. She went to college. She got a job she loved. She fell in love. She called me every Sunday at 9 a.m. The last time we spoke, she said, 'Mom, things are finally coming together.' 1 week later, you strangled her to death." Karen's voice hardened. "You killed my daughter because she was happy, because she worked hard and it paid off. Madison tried to be kind to you. She covered your rent. She tolerated your bitterness. And you repaid her kindness by murdering her and throwing her body in the woods like garbage." Karen turned to look directly at Jessica. "I hope you live a very long life in prison. I hope you wake up every day knowing you'll never have freedom, never have success, never have love, never have anything. I hope you spend decades thinking about what you destroyed." Madison was 23. She had 60 more years stolen from her. You deserve to rot. The courtroom was silent. Judge Morrison delivered the sentence. "Ms. Chen, the evidence presented in this case revealed a crime of staggering cruelty. You murdered Madison Harper not in self-defense, not in sudden passion, but because you could not tolerate her success. You strangled her for 5 minutes while she begged you to stop. Then you disposed of her body, cleaned the crime scene, and attempted to evade justice. For the crime of murder in the first degree, I hereby sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For tampering with physical evidence, I sentence you to 20 years to be served consecutively. For abuse of a corpse, I sentence you to 10 years to be served consecutively. You will spend the remainder of your natural life in the custody of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice." Jessica showed no reaction. She was led out in handcuffs by 2 bailiffs. She never looked back at the Harper family. She never acknowledged their pain. She walked out of the courtroom as emptily as she had walked in. Outside the courthouse, the Harper family made no statement. They walked to their car together, David, Karen, and Tyler, holding each other, carrying the weight of a grief that had just been validated by justice, but would never truly end.